Anybody can argue against those invites.
We can always argue, Ben. There's always room for arguments. And Naniwa.
And Naniwa. But Naniwa was brought in as a replacement to Crazy Moving, who retired. But he was also brought in off of the rankings.
Yeah, it was an invite based on the rankings. Anyways, complexities. QXC is our purple Terran spawning in the right bottom side of Entombed Valley. While Slayer's MMA is our red Korean Terran spawning on the left top side. Ben, quick gas this time for QXC. So he's not going with the no gas fast expand like we saw him do on Metropolis.
Yep, last game he had to play against a little bit of aggression. He's going to turn it around, put the shoe on the other foot and say, hey, MMA, let's see if you can deal with my version of harassment-based play. QXC is one of the better macro players, better micro players in the foreign scene. He's always had really great control. I can actually remember having him on my show like a year and a half ago. He came on and was showing us how to micro Marines against Colossi. And it sounds kind of silly, but he was actually picking out the Marine that the target was colossing it, or that the Colossi was targeting, and moving it away so that it was only splashing on one unit, which is just absurd.
Yeah, that kind of stuff is really cool. But there are not often scenarios like those kind of micro things. They are awesome, but they're also really things that you can like set up. It's kind of like a Blink Stalker fight if you both set it up in a custom game. Some people think like, I can train my micro a little bit like that. We play Blink against Blink, but it's just so different than the real scenario, actually like in real time when it's going on in a game, because then you have to deal with different army movements.
You have to keep your macro going.
You have to keep your macro going. It's going to be a sentry in the two, or a sentry or two in the mix as well. So it's all very different. Not really sure how effective those kind of trainings are, but it's always nice to show off a little bit.
You know, another little trivia point about QXC. Today, we're very used to seeing Terran players drop multiple places all around the map at the same time. Yes. QXC was actually one of the first players to do that, and I can remember everyone made a really big fuss out of his play in the King of the Beta because it was like, oh my god, QXC dropping everywhere at the same time. And so the first thing that I asked him when he came on my show is, hey, QXC, how do you do it? He's like, I just shift Q drop commands.
It's so much less impressive than everyone else hoped for.
Yeah.
Hope for that like double screen 300 APM multitasking.
Nope. Just a couple shift clicks.
Just a couple shift click and don't really look at it.
But he was the first, ladies and gentlemen.
I think Select was really kind of
one of the great pioneers of that style as well.
At least in the North American scene. I've always been a fan of Select, man. In Warcraft 3 as well, he was so good. I'm sad that I never really understood Dawn of War, because I would have loved to see Select just dominate everybody in Warhammer.
Yeah, he was like the most successful player of that game of all time.
Yep,
very plainly.
He switched because the competition in Warcraft 3 was very hard, and certainly winning a WCG qualification in Korea was almost impossible. And then he saw that that game was in WCG, selected like, let's try. Good stuff. And well, he tried, man. He won WCG as well. Then he retired. Then 6 months later, they announced, hey, there's gonna be Warhammer again. Select's like, cool. I'm gonna go back to playing again.
Wins again. Also won like a mobile tournament. Yeah. at the same event.
Yeah, Select is crazy talented in pretty much whatever he does. Anyways, man, focusing on this game, we see Hellions cruising around the map. Both players having sort of identical openings.
Yep. Almost completely identical openings. The only real exception being that MMA, for whatever reason, knows what's coming and is going to get that Viking out. That's going to make it's going to make dropping with this medevac very hard for QXC.
This time we can also see that well, this is quite a different scenario. Never mind. I want to make a smart phone ban, but it's not smart, so I'm not going to say it. Don't make me say it. I'm not going to say it.
You don't have to say it, Kevin.
Cool.
MMA is going to bring a couple of SCVs with this push. I wonder what he's trying to achieve with that. Maybe he's going to try and shut down the NASL. Maybe put a bunker contain at the bottom of that ramp.
QXC is going to move out right on this moment, Ben. There's quite some damage on one of the Hellions of MMA. He does have 4 Hellions.
Looks like QXC has more units there. A little bit of a micro battle going to ensue. But this is going pretty well for QXC. Medevac is even going to take a couple shots from this Viking, but everything continues to be pushed back. Viking gets shot down. Great play by QXC. Supply-wise, it's QXC who's in the lead. He is going to go ahead and take a fight here. No Medevac with MMA's army means that he cannot fight these Marines, and QXC once again finds himself in a very good early game position.
Yep, definitely got the better hand of that exchange. We can see in the units lost resource step as well. Here is that Medevac finally for MMA.
Oh, and MMA is just going to expand right in the face of this aggression.
It's going to be kind of hard to attack uphill, though.
Yep, got to have good control on both sides, and MMA does have great control. QXC as well, microing very nicely, but I think the Viking actually adds so much damage output and damage absorption to that. Now it's going to lift and try to shoot down the medevac.
Oh, actually very nice from MMA right now as well. He's going to have a Viking, dealt a lot of damage. The Marines will finish it off, and he will be able to kill the remaining Marine as well. Taking a look at the income tab right now, Ben, we see 28 SCVs for MMA and 28 SCVs right now for QXC as well. Command centers are, well, it's a little bit quicker for QXC, but the command center is actually in position for MMA, so that's going to even things out.
Yeah, it's very exciting little micro-intensive early game skirmishes on both sides of the map here, and at the end of the day, the result is a pretty even game. 20 army supply to about 17 army supply, 30 workers to about 30 workers. QXC is ever so slightly ahead, Kev.
It's minor, but he is a little bit ahead. We see 2 additional Rexes going up in his main base, and now we do see those 2 additional Rexes going up for MMA as well. So both players still playing 100%, 99% identical. But QXC, as you said, just a tiny little bit ahead. But MMA is going to be able to mine a little bit quicker from his natural, so that might even everything completely out.
QXC is going to send out a couple Hellions around the long way. MMA has not spotted this. I don't think he's going to spot this, so this could once again do some pretty good damage.
These Hellions can do a lot of damage in the harass, but he could also perhaps need them to defend, and that's exactly what QXC thinks right now. Well, for a second he thought about that, but then he decided to change his mind once more.
MMA also, for whatever reason, feels like he needs to go back home, perhaps just realizing that all things considered, that the fight would have been too even to really take.
MMA does not see these 3 Hellions, but making their way over. There are 4 Marines though, so 1 Hellion will fall immediately. There's a siege tank.
That's the most clumsy siege tank I've ever seen, but he finally gets down the ramp, and when he does, makes short work of the 2 Hellions.
Freaking hero siege tank, man. he distracted the Hellions.
You see him coming down that ramp, man? He was like, he looked like he was dancing a jig.
No,
just
it's not clumsy at all, man. You know, people actually get hurt when they get called clumsy. Because whenever people call someone clumsy, they try everything within their power to not look clumsy, and it looks even worse. So this siege tank right now, you made him so self-conscious about his clumsiness. This is the most insecure siege tank there have ever been.
Wow, insecure siege tank. I'm sorry, siege tank.
Look,
you actually made me feel guilty about that.
He's accidentally soon going to run over 3 Marines just because he thinks he's so clumsy.
That would certainly confirm our suspicion that he is the most clumsy siege tank driver.
41 supply right now for MMA, 37 for QXC. Small worker lead for MMA, but that's really about it. You see Stim being researched. I don't think that MMA has Stim yet. No, he's not even researching it. Now that's the first real big difference, man. As we see Combat Shield being researched for MMA. But QXC has 2 tech labs, so he's getting both of the upgrades.
MMA is just persistently aggressive, man. He's never really given up on this aspect of his play. And QXC dropping a command center right now. That's a pretty substantial investment. Siege mode is ready for MMA, so he can
almost ready for QXC, but it's not just there yet.
You can try to set up a little bit of a contain. You're right, it did just finish up. QXC is going to really want to get position, and he does immediately siege up. But it's not going to be good enough. That tank is going to fall, and MMA all of a sudden with a really strong position down here at the base of QXC's natural expansion.
Yeah, suddenly MMA pulls 20 supply ahead right now, Ben. 11 army supply. This Viking is going to take a lot of damage. Pretty important.
Not just the Viking, the entire army there. Finally, Stim goes down. That's going to give so much extra damage output to QXC's army. He's going to try to get down this ramp, but the tanks are just too much. And a 20 supply lead becomes a 30 supply lead as MMA just continues the relentless aggression into QXC's natural expansion.
But this Viking is quite a hero right now, Ben. As MMA is going to be forced to scan every time. Oh, the tank just got in range. Beautiful moment to scan right there by MMA. Of course, a little bit of luck involved as well. Man, this SCV is playing Russian roulette with his life building this command center.
This is also quite the hero Viking right now, keeping the medevac away, forcing MMA to use scans versus just parking the medevac there for high ground vision. But a new Viking comes in, and
the hero Viking is no more, Ben.
The hero Viking is no more. And wow, this is getting really, really tough for QXC. Still hanging on to about a 30 supply deficit, not allowing MMA to lengthen that lead anymore. New Viking does pop out. That's another really nice move.
A little bit of a drop going on over here as well, though. And I don't think QXC is completely aware of it yet. He's going to see those units right now. He has quite a few Marines on the high ground. He's going to try to reposition one tank. MMA dealing some economic damage in this phase of the game. And during all this, Ben, MMA is dropping his additional command center as well.
I have to admire the patience of QXC, not freaking out and just throwing everything at this push. But at the same time, you have to recognize the absolute peril of his situation. MMA with a strong contain outside this natural expansion.
only QXC had some more Marines. He has 70 Marines right now.
Just like that, MMA says, okay, I've done enough damage. I'm going to back off.
I think he's afraid of that moment where QXC could potentially pull SCVs. And then if he stims in, because MMA knows that QXC has stim, as he used it in the previous fight. So I think he's afraid of that scenario. And I think it's an excellent decision by MMA to at least wait until he has stim as well.
I like that MMA is able to make these decisions. It's so hard to give up the contain like that. Now there is a small drop coming from QXC into the natural of MMA, so QXC trying to counter.
Oh, there's still no stim for MMA, so this is really annoying to defend, man.
Yeah, forcing a lot of SCVs to be pulled off the line. This is a nice little move by QXC, and he's killing a lot of SCVs here, up to 18
so
worker kills, 20 now. Oh my goodness, QXC.
What a hero drop.
Yeah,
he's still dealing damage.
Fantastic drop, doing huge amounts of damage, up to 28, 29 worker kills, might even get 30. Finally, it gets cleaned up. 29 worker kills will be the final count.
8 Marines, man.
And those were the most cost-effective Marines of all time. Army Supply still firmly in favor of MMA. And he does have the third base, but you know what? So does QXC, just landing this third base.
Look at this Marine. He's going to try to be as cost-effective, man.
I don't think it's going to happen, Kev.
Nope. It's not going to happen. MMA is going to try to get in a good position once more, as he has stim now as well. The Marine counts still favors MMA, 46 over 37. Siege Tank favors MMA as well, but of course the economy is going to favor QXC if this continues. First tanks are getting sieged right now.
Oh, and a big engagement starting to shape up here on the base of this sort of low ground here. One siege tank falling on QXC side of the map. Still MMA, yeah, now one tank going down for MMA as well. So both players trading here. Supplies are very, very even, but we have to realize
Marine's going to stim in. All the tanks are on
just
siege.
Going for it as MMA on siege. As QXC tries to roll the dice, it comes up Snake Eyes, and he has to pull back.
Snake Eyes, stare down. You know, Snake Eyes is also like when you play a drinking game, you can have Snake Eyes. And then everybody's not allowed to look at you, so no. You know
yeah, I've played that drinking game with you.
You thought it was stupid, right?
It was fun. Until we had to start naming capitals. And like, you know every capital of every country in the world. And I'm like,
Texas? Upgrade-wise, QXC is slightly in favor as well, man, as he has 2-1 upgrades on his bio units, while MMA is still on 1-1. He's getting his second upgrade as well, but the tank advantage is just so big for MMA right now.
Yeah, that really is a big deal. Viking advantage does go to QXC, though, and he is able to pick off a medevac or two there, which is also a big deal. Having control of the skies means that MMA can't shoot up to that high ground. So QXC making the right steps, making the right moves, allowing himself to continue to be more and more stable. Even jumping into a supply lead for the first time in the game. Kev, that army supply deficit is only 6 army supply now, whereas it was 30 just a few minutes ago.
And he has those bio upgrades. If he would force a fight right now, certainly if all the tanks are on siege, I really think that if he stims in, he might be able to make something happen. But it's so hard to catch MMA off guard.
Yeah, it's really so positional. MMA just constantly scanning. And it's actually MMA is going to stim and run forward here a little bit dangerously. Does manage to bait QXC into a couple tank shots.
He'll try to get a sick container. There's a medevac full of units there as well.
A lot of Marines. I think MMA actually had a superior Marine count in that particular engagement, but didn't want to risk running into more tanks.
Medevac man is going to lead this fight.
Absolutely even game right now. 162 supply to 167 supply, 110 army supply to 102 army supply.
Really nice macro by QXC right now, producing 11 Marines at once. That's really going to help out so much. Both players, I mean QXC once more getting close to supply block though. That's an ugly moment.
But he does enjoy this upgrade advantage that you keep coming back to, Kevin. And it's about to be +3, +2 against +2, +2. Which is just, it sounds so minimal, but it is so huge when you have +3 attack stim Marines.
Forward base is going to be a lot quicker for QXC as well. It's already floating over the command center. MMA right now is going to try for some serious aggression, I think. Big stim being used on most of these bio units.
And MMA wants to commit right now. He's going to come right up the ramp of QXC. He feels like this is his angle. It was a big exchange, but after the dust settles, QXC still enjoys that supply lead. So that was a fruitless attack, Kev.
Well, the longer this continues, the better it's going to go for QXC, of course, because he is going to have that base advantage. He still has a small economic advantage as well.
MMA still trying to find openings, forcing openings with these drops. And he's doing a good job of it, dragging QXC's bio through some tank fire there.
Well, these Marines doing a really good job as well, but at the same time we still have these Marines over here. Wow, I think actually QXC forced the cancel on the 4th base of MMA. Oh no, it's over here, never mind. Man, I just freaked out, because that would have been huge.
But it is going to float down, and QXC does have this hit squad here, making its way up into the 3rd base of MMA. There's nothing back at home to defend that. Finally, some reinforcements are turned around. They will come back, but more workers are going to fall for sure.
Not as effective as the first
Not
one,
that
but
many.
it was going to be hard to be as effective as the first one. Look at these two little soldiers. This is Solid Snake and what's the other guy?
Tom Clancy.
Splinter Cell. Tom Clancy? Isn't he the guy who writes the books in the game? Oh, no high ground vision.
Try to get a pick on the siege tank.
No high ground
Those
vision.
Units do die. No high ground vision indeed. That's going to allow QXC to rain down on MMA.
God.
MMA doesn't realize it. Could have dropped the scan, but it instead is forced to unsiege. That's a big win for QXC. He's going to continue pushing forward with all this stem bio. Finally, MMA gets some tanks sieged up, but he's going to have to give up this position once again. He knows it.
Now, for the first time in a long time, when QXC has a siege tank lead, he still has a reasonable Marine lead as well. QXC in the first game, everything looked so great for you, but then suddenly you got outplayed. In the second game, he's really going head-to-head with MMA.
Absolutely, man. Just punch for punch. He's there the whole way. Sam Fisher, I think, is the Splinter Cell guy.
Sam Fisher, you're right. You know, I bought a Splinter Cell game once on my Nintendo GameCube because it always got such high reviews. So I was like, this must be really good, and the cover looked quite good as well. But before you could start the game, you had a training phase, and I really didn't enjoy it. I stopped at the training phase and never played the game.
Wow.
I bought it when it was a budget title. That was only like $10.
I've actually never played Splinter Cell. I have played a little bit of Metal Gear Solid, though. I think it's a great game. I played Snake Eater, and I quit playing that when I got to the sniper part because it was just too tedious.
Such a positional game right now with QXC is pulling further and further ahead. MMA, I love his aggressive style though. This is what we saw of him against MVP as well, when it was often MVP defending, but slowly but steady MVP stabilized and then eventually crushed MMA.
Hero Supply Depot catches this little squad of units and allows MMA to react to it. At the same time, MMA is dropping over in the back of QXC's base, but QXC's responding just...
Medevac!
Actually, Medevac's going to be the hero there.
Oh! Wow, what a hero Marine.
So he will eventually go down.
Man, it's crazy how much these medevacs have an influence on these Marine battles. Like 8 Marines against 8 Marines in a medevac.
Look at this drop.
Oh, QXC's gonna have to be careful right now. A lot of units were in the medevacs, but still.
Oh, I don't know if this is a good fight for QXC. He's gonna lose a lot of bio, but he's killing a lot of siege tanks. Oh my gosh, was I ever wrong? It was a great fight for QXC, crushing all of MMA's units there. Jumping to a 60 supply lead. Now all QXC has to do is get across the map, and he has this game within his grasp.
A lot of units are in production for QXC, so this is a little bit deceiving. Oh, medevac with a tank in it will fall as well. More medevacs falling. QXC playing fantastic.
Great play from QXC. MMA trying to push back. He's down 60 supply though, and look, here comes the reinforcements. The cavalry is here.
Only 4 tanks on the map right now for MMA against 16 or 14 for QXC. That's crazy.
And those tanks are going to siege up right in range of MMA's tanks and make very short work of them. This is going to completely deny mining at the 4th base of MMA. He has no additional expansions anywhere on the map, and QXC maxed out with a great position.
The good thing is for MMA is that he lost so many workers in his natural that he will be able to mine from his natural a little bit longer. But that's not really what's going to win him this war, I guess.
He's going to have to manage a really good fight somewhere.
QXC is off 60 army supply, man. What a great game by QXC.
Yeah, and look at this big wave of purple in the middle of the map.
MMA is going to try to intercept it, but there are so many Marines over here for QXC as well, and they still have better upgrades too.
They do manage to kill all the siege tanks, but the Marine count just way too high, allowing QXC to continue pushing forward, continues to stay sort of maxed at 196 with 196 supplies, finishing up a new command center. That will allow him to hit that 200 cap.
Really solid play by QXC. I'm kind of blown away by how well he did this. Having that massive lead in game number 1. I think MMA is going to try to make a final. Wow, this is really smart. But good scan by QXC right on the right moment. And he will take out one of those tanks. I thought it was going to be better. But
I really can't stress enough how I feel like the time in the Complexity House is really paying off for these guys. They've been posting better and better results at each tournament. And here we have QXC going toe-to-toe with MMA in a very intense macro game on Entombed Valley. MMA try and secure these rocks, but QXC is aware of it. Or
QXC is just doing everything right now. He knows that MMA is down to 3 bases. He's dropping 2 additional command centers. There is 1 base over here, but this one is going to fall as well. Nice stutter step micro there by QXC. During all this, he did lose perhaps a siege tank or 2.
But it doesn't matter, Kev, because he's just got way more stuff than his opponent. Staying maxed. MMA is slowly creeping up back to another max, but I almost have to question whether or not there's enough resources in the bases he controls to get 200 supply.
Well, he will get the 200 supply if he doesn't lose any more units, but that is unlikely because QXC just keep forcing small exchanges, which of course favor him because he's so much stronger economically. MMA is going to try to make a stand over here with everything, but there is a lot of units over here for QXC.
A ton of units for QXC and another huge reinforcing wave making its way up through the center of the map. So even if QXC loses that battle, the war is still well within his grips. 187 supply to 150. MMA doing a great job controlling space with his tanks now, Kev. If we look at the tank count, now it's MMA who has retaken the advantage there.
And he was down 10 tanks, but he's also down 40 Marines, man. And 40 Marines with 3 upgrades, that's a really, really big deal.
He is going to manage to pick off a couple more siege tanks, though, and with that little fight, he can secure a new base once again. QXC is going to use this opportunity to load up and make a huge drop over in the natural. MMA is at least somewhat aware of it, but I don't think he has any chance of getting there in time.
If he stims,
oh, man, QXC.
You think he should have gone for it?
I say yes. I think he should have gone for it, but I certainly can't blame him for backing off there. It's a lot of supply tied up in those medevacs.
You never know how many Marines really stim in. Yeah, that is a lot of supply. If we lost all that, then suddenly this game is a whole lot even.
More even, yeah. As QXC still maxed, still advancing his position, but MMA has secured a new base. That means there's more life in MMA still.
QXC instead going with a smaller drop and 2 medevacs full of bio units going to unload in the natural of MMA. But MMA has quite a few units over here.
And MMA's taking an upgrade lead, Kevin. QXC hasn't gotten +3 armor.
I thought he had. That's crazy.
Now +3 armor is finishing up for QXC, but MMA has closed that gap. It's no longer a disadvantage for him. Additionally, his siege tanks have +2 attack against the +1 attack of QXC's tanks. So MMA's fighting strength is quite high.
There's so much supply in all these medevacs, and 2 medevacs are so low on HP. Kind of risky. Was there a Viking in one of those medevacs?
Drop on the bottom half of the map is going to shut down another one of QXC's expansions.
He could potentially, if he stims right now, I think he can still take out this command center. It's going to be sort of close, but...
I think you're right. This command center should fall. QXC running over with units as quickly as he can, but he's miscollected them. He didn't rally them all the way up into this expansion. Marines just sitting idly by as the command center gets shot down. Painful loss for QXC.
Oh god, MMA, are you really going to try to do the same thing all over again? QXC still with a lot of units over here in the right. Oh, he's going to siege on the high ground. Man, this is pretty sick.
Yeah, so deny some mining, a nice use of position here by QXC. Supply-wise, it's QXC still with the advantage. 30 army supply lead for QXC.
They also just trapped a ton of units, and there are quite a few units as defending for QXC. Well, look how many siege tanks there are in the main base for QXC, Ben.
A ton.
That almost can be on purpose.
That is a huge amount of tanks. I'm sure he'll bring them forward pretty soon, as he's going to need them in the next heads-up engagement. MMA has 17 tanks to QXC's 16, but as you pointed out, Kevin, this is like 8 tanks sitting in QXC's main, so basically half of his tank fleet is back at home.
I'm surprised that MMA is not really trying to deal with this right now. He's running over the orbital of his natural instead. I love it, Ben. The moment that he can actually do that, he's doing it immediately. Could definitely use these refineries as well. He's starting to run a little low on gas. Even though, of course, he can always remove a lot of Marines.
MMA dropping again in the bottom left as soon as he sees QXC retaking that expansion, Kev.
A lot of low HP SCVs already as well.
And the army of MMA is getting so formidable, man. It is just a huge force. Big fight trying to unfurl in the middle of the map.
MMA. This orbital is actually going to
kill
fall
him, man. He's like a vampire, and he's going to pick off another command center. Really? No. QXC just has no units here. He's either going to lose a ton of SCVs or the base at the same time. We've got more fighting in the middle of the map as QXC tries to secure another new expansion, but siege tanks in a very awkward position. MMA is going to have to back up a little bit.
MMA is not stimming now. He could have killed even more SCVs over here if he paid a little bit more attention, but he was obviously worried about this huge army. I can't blame him, but MMA has really turned this into a real game again.
Yes, he has, securing yet another expansion. 185 supply to 200, and the only reason MMA is not max is because he's lost a couple of depots.
Oh, he's going to siege up, but QXC is doing the exact same thing.
And this is a better position for QXC. These tanks are going to absolutely crush, and MMA has to back off once again. Painful losses.
Yep, that's true.
As he dips about 30 supply below QXC there.
I think if he would have only just attack moved here rather than right-clicking on the orbital, he would have killed way more SUVs and then also would have killed the orbital. We're going to see a small drop over here from QXC. He's going to fly right into this missile turret though.
And
that's a shift drop, man.
Shot down. Yeah, that is the old QXC shift Q. And there's not a whole lot here for him to kill. A couple of.
Has to be careful. This is not MMA's real
gas.
army, and QXC has so many units over here. I think MMA is going to lose so much over here.
Oh, very dangerous engagement. Yeah, MMA really wants to take out this expansion, but he's overestimating his army strength as he's got tanks misrallied into the tank line of QXC. Another pivotal mistake here. MMA really trying to hang on. Does end up forcing this command center to lift. Kills all the SCVs there.
Orbital will probably fall.
Yeah, I think it is going to burn down. QXC's dropping the top half of the map, still alive, killed all the SCVs mining gas there, but does ultimately get cleaned up.
I'm going to see a drop over here. Wow, Hero Marine, man. Behind enemy lines!
Wow.
Oh,
This is Billy's unimpressed dad.
Oh,
he says, I take fire, I give no, I don't care.
Man, pretty sick Marine right there.
That was the...
You see it still having a massive supply lead. MMA is going to siege up a QXC with so many
all the
Marines.
Marines are here, and that's a bad fight for MMA. QXC finally catching another break. Getting a really good exchange here. MMA finally going to stand and fight, but the numbers just don't seem to be in his favor.
He picked up accidentally 8 Marines during that fight as well. QXC, of course, still has quite a bit of supply stuck over here. Yes, it is denying a base, but eventually...
Yeah, that is a huge amount of supply just kind of chilling. And what if you were to lose that? What if MMA just made a big push up into that?
+3 siege tanks right now, but against only +1. But the siege count is heavily favoring QXC right now. 21 over 7.
Oh, that's huge. Absolutely huge.
I mean, +3 is a big deal, of course. But I think MMA just scanned this to see if these units are still here. Yes, they are still there. I'm very surprised he doesn't stim in with, let's say, 25 Marines. He will easily take this out.
I guess the other line of thinking is, hey, that means he has all the QXC has all the supply committed to the top right. Why can't I just continue attacking down into the bottom left?
Or even attack in the left, expand in the left bottom. What a crazy TVT over here. Really excellent game so far.
Yeah, fantastic game. These guys seem pretty evenly matched, even through game 1. QXC had MMA on the ropes. MMA managed to claw it back. This game has gone both ways several times.
QXC is maxed out, man, and he still has less workers as well, which is actually a good thing on the moment.
Wow, MMA just carelessly losing a couple units there on the right side of the map. So QXC just enjoying this positional advantage that he has. Here's the big stim, going to come forward chasing some of these medevacs. Oh, great control by MMA. Even 40 minutes later, still cruising along. Look at MMA's APM right now. Both these players just blazing fast.
504. 504. Oh, MMA.
Just cruising. QXC is also much faster than I think people give him credit for.
Look, guys. Look, man. They expand in peace right now.
We are just a peaceful settler nation. We just wish to mine these resources and be left alone.
QXC shuts down this drop pretty well. He still has 33 SCVs. He shouldn't lose too many more. Be careful with all those Marines MMA. It's pretty sick contained right now. But QXC seems to stabilize. He still has these units over here. Not trying to pull them back. Really likes to have the idea of denying that port base.
Wow, this looks really dangerous for both players. QXC is going to siege up and just a single tank volley just mulching everything in range of it. And a really awkward fight, honestly, for each player. A lot of Marines dying on both sides. A lot of tanks dying on MMA's side. QXC going to continue to flex his siege tank muscle. 23 siege tanks to 4 right now. One thing MMA does have going for him is great mobility.
Oh, man, this is actually 2 medevacs full of bio units right now, but they're going to fly close over all these Marines. MMA has to pay attention to this.
Oh, he's not watching. Oof. Yes, he does pull it back at the last possible second. 16 Marines. That was a bumpy ride if ever there has been one. Big fight here on the tanks of QXC. MMA finally getting a pretty good angle to engage from. Will get a few tank kills. A lot of tank kills, in fact. 24 siege tanks becomes 20 just like that. Careful, MMA. You're misrallying some units, though.
QXC still up 40 supply, man, and these Marines are kind of trapped right now.
Wow, right now QXC at 190 supply against 130. That is a 60 supply lead.
QXC doesn't know yet.
Is he unaware of this expansion?
Yes, he's never seen it.
Oh, and Marines on the high ground, but there is vision here granted by those medevacs.
No, he might actually, no, he still did not see the
Still
orbital.
doesn't know about the expansion, but if he sends something up there to chase those medevacs. QXC. Yep, that expansion will be spotted and it will be crushed.
That's really gonna hurt because this is the only mining base right now for Slayers MMA. All these SCBs will fall as well.
That might actually be the killing blow, Kev.
Yep.
MMA dipping down below 100 supply. QXC is maxed. 200 of 200 supply. He's going to try to deal with this little attacking, prodding force of MMA, but nothing doing there. MMA in worlds of trouble.
Absolutely fantastic TVT by QXC.
Fantastic. That is the best word to describe it. QXC has just played almost perfectly for 43 minutes now. MMA does manage to land his command center once again here on the this center left expansion, but QXC all over it, drops it immediately.
MMA is going to try to make a final stand. He knows that he needs his base. The orbital's running quite low on HP already as well. He's going to siege up. QXC just has so many units, and as you said, man, he's still maxed out, and he has a little bit of a bank as well, while MMA is broke. He has nothing.
Yeah, nothing doing for him. And there it is. MMA concedes. GG gets called, and QXC in impressive fashion ties it up. 1-1 is the score. There will be a game number 3.
Oh, well, there will be a game number 3, exactly. Man, I don't know, I'm kind of blown away, because the first game, QXC had such a big lead, and you really felt like, well, QXC, if you're ever going to beat MMA, it's going to be this game. Somehow, some way, MMA turned that one around. Then game 2, he just goes toe-to-toe for 43 minutes. Perhaps a few bad engagement, but overall, excellent decision-making.
Yeah,
and
really at no point was
game.
MMA way ahead. Like,
No.
this was just QXC's game from beginning and end. Very, very nicely played. That game was brought to you guys by Twitch TV.
And every time also that MMA came quite close and it's starting to look like a real game again, and QXC somehow got a really good fight again and turned it into a small advantage, which later became a large advantage. Good games.
We are going to kick it to a very short break. We'll be back with game number 3, QXC versus MMA, our final game of the day after this. Stick around, guys.